Well, hello there. It's so nice to have you back for another episode of Just a Damn Minute. Now, it was Canada Day this week here in Canada, this country we call the nation of Canada. And so I thought that I might entertain you with a special segment all about this beautiful country that I live in, and I'm calling it 10 Weirdish Facts About Canada. Let's start with the way the country was created. Did you know that Canada is a colony of the British Empire? Or at least it was. In 1867, the BNA, or British North America Act, was signed into law by Her Royal Highness, whoever the Queen was at that time. We are what you would call a constitutional monarchy, which means that in spite of the fact that we've got a prime minister and premiers of all the provinces, we still make the Queen, or at least the Queen's designate, the Governor General of Canada, sign all of our legal documents. In any event, people here really like the Queen. We call her Queen Elizabeth II. And did you know that my first interesting fact about Canada, ding, is that Queen Elizabeth II is a highway matriarch. In Canada, particularly here in Alberta, we've actually named Highway 2 after her, the highway that goes between Edmonton and Calgary, except it would be like this if up was north. We call it the Queen Elizabeth II Highway. The Queen also happens to be the person we worship as the one true God. She is literally bigger than Jesus here in Canada. Weird fact number 2 about Canada. Our first Prime Minister, Mr. John A. Macdonald, was apparently a huge drunk. Sir John A. took to the drink, it turns out, and in fact, during a speech, threw up in the middle of it. Now, this was a campaign speech, so it was really important. And after he threw up, his opponent said, "Is this the man you want running your country, a drunker?" John A. Macdonald was also an insult comic because he turned around, wiped the shit off his face, and said, "I get sick sometimes, not because of the drink, but because I'm forced to listen to my honorable opponent." Number 3 in my weirdish Canadian facts, the Honorable Kim Campbell. Ding! Kim Campbell was in power for a grand total of 143 days as Canada's first and only female Prime Minister. Now, you'll note that the province of Ontario recently re-elected a lesbian woman premier, which is pretty cool. Canada is extremely progressive, but I would love to see some more lady leaders at the top. Number 4 is a piece of trivia that I'm calling Josiah Flintabady Josiah Flintabady Floniton, Manitoba. Many of you will know the town actually as that goes by the name of Flin Flon, Manitoba. But did you know that it gets its name from a character from a science fiction fantasy novel, Josiah Flintabady Floniton? Now, the name of the novel is The Sunless City by J.E. Preston Murdoch, and apparently the story goes that when prospectors were exploring the area around Flin Flon, they happened upon this book in the forest, and they decided to name the town Flin Flon after Josiah Flintabady Floniton. So next time you're in Flin Flon, and this is what he looks like, go say hello to Josiah for me. Number 5, Alexander Rutherford and the Battle of Alberta. A lot of you will be familiar, a lot of you Canadians anyway, will be familiar with the name Alexander Rutherford. Not only was he the first premier of Alberta, but he was also the guy who founded the University of Alberta. And I'm giving Alexander Rutherford credit for creating the rift that exists, sort of, between Edmonton and Calgary. Right around the founding of the province of Alberta, Alexander Rutherford chose to name Edmonton as the capital city, which pissed Calgarians off to no end. But he reassured them that they shouldn't worry, that he guaranteed that he would build the province's university, the University of Alberta, directly south of the North Saskatchewan River, which is today the river that divides North and South Edmonton. He held true to his word. Why, that prick built the University of Alberta directly south of the North Saskatchewan River and nowhere near Calgary. So he basically told Calgary, fuck you twice. Really, really sorry, Calgary. Number 6, Matthew McCauley, the original Punisher. Did you know that Matthew Macaulay was the first mayor of the city of Edmonton? Right around the time that the Hudson's Bay Company was moving into the area, buying up all the land, there were a whole bunch of people who said fuck it to the Hudson's Bay Company and decided that they just wanted to lay claim to whatever. Those people were called claim jumpers. And Matthew Macaulay was a stalwart for justice and working for big faceless corporations and trading companies like the Hudson's Bay Company. Macaulay decided he didn't like these claim jumpers and he was going to do away with them. So he formed a posse, and on at least one story, he and his posse shoved a claim jumper's house down a riverbank. That's what we mean when we say Edmonton as fuck. Now, I have no doubt that anyone who's been on the internet for any length of time has heard about the town of Dildo, Newfoundland, and so I'm calling this the Perverts of Newfoundland. Fact number 7 is all about Dildo, Newfoundland, which apparently has had its name since about 1711, and a dildo, by the way, was a thing, like a bolt that went into boats. It wasn't, I don't think the funny thing about Dildo, Newfoundland is the fact that it's called Dildo, Newfoundland, although one could argue, hilarious! What I do think is funny is the name of some of the other towns and areas around Dildo, Newfoundland, and they include Spread Eagle, Heart's Delight, Conception Bay, Broad Cove, Pussy Gully, or Pussy's Gully. I am totally serious. And finally, Placentia, Newfoundland. Number 8 on my list of weirdish facts about Canada is the Are You Fucking Kidding Me? Now, you may have already heard about this, but in Atlantic Canada, when it's lobster season, McDonald's comes out with something that looks like a hot dog, except it's called the McLobster, and it is allegedly made with lobster meat. I'm told it tastes as good as it looks. Yeah, I'd totally eat a McLobster. Number 9, more KD than Lang. It's true that Canada, and in fact Alberta, where I live, is home to famous songstress K.D. Lang. But that's not what this is about. This is about the fact that apparently Canadians eat more Kraft dinner than anyone else on the planet. We really like artificial cheese, gross noodles. Yeah, that's actually what we really like. Finally, number 10 on my list of interesting facts about Canada, Grosse Pointe Blanket. The Hudson's Bay Company has been around since the founding of Canada. One of the iconic emblems of the Hudson's Bay Company is the point pattern blanket. It's this blanket that you see right here that's got that sort of stripy pattern on it. It's very, very popular. And when colonialists came to Canada and took all the land away from the indigenous peoples wanted to trade for the point blanket. What the indigenous peoples of Canada didn't bargain for is that the white man was carrying with him smallpox. So basically, white people gave indigenous people a dose of smallpox with every point blanket they were given. This is now a celebrated symbol of Canada's history, when it really is just an emblem of colonialism. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Just a Damn Minute and these weirdish facts about Canada. Happy Canada Day. I know it's a little bit late to be wishing you so, but this country turned 147 years old this week, and that is something worth celebrating. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.